Here we go with another edition of the Daily Profit NFL preview. Two teams, kind of probably an hour drive apart. Washington Commanders, Baltimore Ravens. They take on each other this week. NFL preseason action on Friday, week 3, final week of the regular season. We're going to give a season preview for both teams and also a prediction in the Friday night matchup. Wes, you ready to break these two teams down?
Yes, sir, I am. And we'll go ahead and start with the Baltimore Ravens. And obviously, new head coach in town for the first time in quite a while, right? So, John Harbaugh, he was at the helm for many years there in Baltimore. We have Jesse Minter here in town now. If you remember, he was the Chargers defensive coordinator. I think he's going to come in and turn this defense around, honestly. Obviously, he's a great defensive mind coming over from the Chargers. If you remember, this team tried to get Max Crosby, and that whole trade fell through because of a physical, I believe, if I remember. They did get Trey Hendrickson, though, from Cincinnati, who's a fantastic pass rusher. So I do think they'll be able to apply pressure to the quarterback. But, offensively, this team was not very good last year. Derrick Henry all of a sudden developed fumble issues, if you remember. He got the butterfingers, so to speak. He started coughing up the ball. Lamar Jackson, he didn't have all that great of a year last year either. And he's had trouble staying on the field the past couple seasons as well. So, we'll see if he can stay healthy. Back to the defense, Mike Green, he's the second-year rusher for Marshall. I think he's going to have a big year, and Tavarius Robinson as well. I do think the defense is going to be a lot, much more improved.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Last year, just 8-9 for the Baltimore Ravens. Their season win total this year, 11.5. So new head coach is the young head coach, Jesse Minter. So I think he's going to be able to motivate this team. Baltimore Ravens have made the playoffs 6 out of the last 8 years. I mean, they still have Lamar Jackson, 104 quarterback rating last year, 21 touchdowns, just 7 interceptions. You got Derrick Henry. He's rushed for over 1,500 yards in 5 of the last 7 seasons. However, he is entering year 11 in the league. So, that's at the age where you don't see too many running backs putting up those kind of numbers once they get over 30 years of age. They have some weapons on offense with Zay Flowers and Rashard Bateman. Also, tight end Mark Andrews. The defense is good. The offensive line's good. And taking a look at their schedule, I think they could start out undefeated. They may be the first team to without a loss in the first 7 weeks. They open up at the Colts, and then they take on the Saints at home, Cowboys at home, Titans at home, and then at Atlanta, at Cleveland, at Cincinnati. So a very good possibility the Ravens could start 7-0. Middle of the schedule gets a little tougher, and then towards the end, they finish with Pittsburgh twice, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. So their win total, 11.5. I think a very good chance for them to go over, especially how soft their schedule is early in the season. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens over 11.5 wins this season.
Yeah, you're probably getting that at plus money too, honestly, because the under's minus 140 there. But you talked about Mark Andrews at the tight end position. I think he's going to have a breakout year. Last year he had kind of a down year, but that's just because the offense was down in general last season. But remember, Declan Doyle is the new offensive coordinator here for the Ravens. And, I think he's going to get this offense going. As long as Lamar Jackson stays healthy, you probably have a decent shot at that over 11.5. I just have questions whether he can last the whole season anymore. Obviously, he's not the same young lad he used to be. And, the division, you talked about the schedule and everything. Obviously, they get the Browns twice. I get that. But I'm high on the Bengals and I'm high on the Steelers this year as long as Joe Burrow can stay healthy. I really like the Bengals a lot. I really like the Steelers a lot. So I think those are going to be very tough games. And just, Jesse Minter with a first-year head coach, I think it might just take a couple of years for him to, turn everything around. So I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go under. It's juiced a little bit, minus 140, but I'm going under 11.5 with the Ravens. So we have to agree to disagree here, Tony. Also,
Yeah,
too.
and that's one important note. When you do bet season win totals, guys get hurt. Lamar goes down, any other players go down. The under definitely looks good when you lose key players. You got to take that into factor when you're betting these season win totals.
100%. And Tony, I wanted to let everybody know about the promo over here at Winners and Winers. So basically, you can get all of either myself or TonyK, all our baseball and our college football and our NFL selections It was $8.99. It's $6.99 through all the way through the Super Bowl. So you get $200 off. That's our boy David Delano repping the Daily Profit right there. But you lock in everything we release. As far as the diamond and the gridiron, all the way through the Super Bowl. So it's fantastic long-term package there that will show you some ROI and win you some money all the way through the Super Bowl and get your bankroll up for March Madness.
Yeah, it's a great deal, guys. Make sure you check it out. winnersandwhiners.com. Also, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, thumbs up here on the videos. We put them out every Monday through Friday, every morning. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. A couple more days of NFL preseason action and season previews. And then college football starts in 4 days on this Saturday. We're going to have some college football picks for you on the Thursday and Friday videos.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I'm actually going to Circa. I'll be at Circa for contest week on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm doing some media there with some friends. And the Survivor contest, it just gets bigger and bigger. The pot this year is actually $30 million over at Circa, and that's guaranteed. So if they don't have enough entries to cover the $30 million, then our boy Derek Stevens over there at Circa is going to be not a happy camper because he's going to have to cover that overlay there. But anyway, it should be a good time. If you're at Circa the next Thursday, Friday, or Saturday downtown Vegas, you can come say hi to SniperWes, and we could talk some football. So, anyway, let's move on to the Commanders here, Tony. So, this is year 3 for Jaden Daniels here. Obviously, he had the down year last year. He just couldn't stay on the field, could not stay healthy. But he was a Rookie of the Year candidate and an MVP candidate 2 seasons ago. They do have David Blau coming in at the offensive coordinator, and he's risen up the ranks very quickly. He's a Ben Johnson disciple. So, I do think that this offense can be quite electric this year as long as Jaden Daniels can stay on the field.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Washington this year. I think it's going to be a very exciting team. A lot of weapons on offense. Now they have Stephon Diggs to go along with Terry McLaurin. So a very good offense. They did lose their tight end, Zach Ertz, but they also have Luke McCaffrey, Jaden Daniels. If he can stay healthy, I think this offense is going to be very explosive. The offensive line is very good. They were good last year. They're going to be even better this year. I think Dan Quinn's job may be on the line. He's a defensive-minded coach. I think you're going to see a strong performance this year out of the Commanders.
Yeah, speaking of Dan Quinn, arguably he should maybe have a Super Bowl ring. I mean, he should have probably won one with the Falcons. Tom Brady, the 28-3 game. I mean, if Julian Edelman, if that ball hits the ground, he's a Super Bowl champion, So he came so close. It's, but Tom Brady worked his magic. But, defensively, last year this defense was not very good, but 2 years ago they actually had a ton of sacks. They just kind of had a down year last year, but they're pretty good at front seven. Tim Settle, Tim Wise, Leo Chanel. They drafted Sonny Styles with the 7th overall pick. So I think they're going to be disruptive up front. One key player up front for this team, Jerzon Newton. If he's got a lot of potential. Last year he just had kind of a down year. He couldn't put it all together. I think if he can kind of step it up and play up to his potential, I think this defense under Dan Quinn's leadership, who's a defensive-minded coach, can be very, very good. And I like the over, man. I'm high on this over. It's only sitting at 7.5. So, and it's only minus 105. So the over's 7.5 minus 105. And so you're telling me this team, who's loaded with talent, who has arguably a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, if he stays healthy, can go under 500 and still you can cash this ticket at over 7.5. I'm sold. I like over 7.5 on the Commanders minus 105.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels can definitely sling it. Last year they had 12 wins without him because he was injured. Their season win total this year, 7.5. Their offense is much improved. Defense is good. Offensive line is good. They missed the playoffs 8 out of the last 10 years. They don't have to make the playoffs this year. They just need more than 7.5 wins. I like it in this division. Give me the Washington Commanders over their 7.5 wins. Baltimore, Washington, they play each other this Friday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. Wes, I know you have a selection in this final week 3 of the preseason.
Yeah, so the total's sitting at 34.5. And, the final week of preseason, obviously there's only 3 games now. There used to be 4 games. But even when it was 4 games, it's always the last game of preseason. The coaches kind of don't care. The teams don't care. They just want to get, the guys on the second and third team their reps see who's going to actually make the full roster. You get Sam Hartman and Athan Kalakmanis to start for Washington, and Tyler Huntley is going to be starting for Baltimore. Obviously, Hartman has some NFL experience. Tyler Huntley has some NFL experience. But both these teams' offenses, Washington only put up 13 points last week versus the Lions, and the Ravens only put up 13 versus the Vikings last week. So I like the under quite a bit here. I just think it's a who cares, throw it away type of game. Give me under 34.5. Yeah, it's 30. Yeah, under 34.5 between the Commanders and the Ravens.
All right, good stuff with Washington and Baltimore. 2 more NFL season previews. Guys, make sure you give us a like, subscribe, thumbs up. Also, be sure to check us out on social media. I'm at Vegas Top Dogs on X. Wes is at the Sniper Picks. We'll be back again tomorrow with more NFL season previews and preseason action. As always, Wes, good luck and be a winner.